Hey, Hendy here, and welcome back to the final part of my Deltarune Undertale theory. This is the third video of 3 videos, or it was meant to be 2, but it was split in 2, so it's 3 videos now. Starting off with this video, the canonical ending of Undertale, go take a look, and this video, the Angel 7 talking about a bunch of things in Deltarune, which I wanted to cover before I covered the things I cover in this video, so please go watch those. They will be very important for context for this video, and without further ado, let's just get straight into this. If you're new here, like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, give me a chat about what you think about my stuff, and let's get into this. Now, the first thing I want to talk about in this video is control. Control is a major theme throughout the entirety of Deltarune. Hell, it has a bit of relevance in Undertale, with sometimes you move by yourself or things like that, but in Deltarune, control is a central feature. You're not really in control, you chose, you didn't choose, you don't get choices, this, that, the other, this happens. But on a more physical level, on the actual, game level, the character level, it quickly becomes clear that we are not playing as Chris, the human in Deltarune. We are very much still playing as Frisk, the red soul, and we are controlling Chris to do things that they probably would not like to do. Now, this comes after my my Undertale theory, and after what I spoke about that in my Deltarune one. So again, if you haven't watched them, go watch them. Do it. But we play as the red soul. The red soul, I'm gonna say, is Frisk. And I'm going to say Chara is sort of piggybacking on that. They're both not at war over the soul, they both own the soul, and when we're not around, Chara has control. Now, this soul is currently piloting Chris's body, and at multiple points you can see things that just point out that this isn't Chris doing these things. Noelle's dad, for example, points out Chris's handwriting and how they don't even seem to recognize it. We can't play the piano, but apparently Chris was really good at playing the piano. There are plenty of things that point to this. One of the biggest being how you can say straight up to Sans, "It's great to see you again," and he just says, "Oh, we haven't met before." But we have. Watch the previous video and the section about Sans and do it. That's one of the parts I'm the most proud of. But anyway, throughout the course of the actual game, we are piloting the body through the dark world, through the light world, just sort of meandering about. And during that time, we are Frisk controlling Chris's body. Now, this can be shown by when we're in combats and stuff. You can see the soul and Chris. They are very much separate entities. This soul is not Chris's soul. In Undertale, it's very clear that Frisk is the soul because you can never see them on screen at the same time. The part where control becomes very important is when we come to the finale scenes of both Chapter 1 and 2, where the soul is ripped from the body and trapped somewhere whilst the body goes and there's some nefarious acts. Now, I'll talk about the nefarious acts again at the end, but what's important is, who is this controlling the body now? Has Chris regained control? Or is Chara an entity separate from the soul, resuming control of the body when the soul has been ejected? I, for one, go for Chara, because it makes sense with my theory for the end, but it could be both, for various reasons. Now, I want to go a little bit more into detail about Chara being a separate entity from the soul, still residing within Chris, but differently. Now, I'd very much like to bring this up through Ralsei, our fuzzy little companion whose name is an anagram of Asriel, who follows us around in the Dark World. Now, yes, I am implying that Ralsei is the manifestation of Chara. Now, hear me out, okay? It's not a manifestation of Asriel. We could... The main agreed point is that Ralsei is our idea of Asriel, is Chris's idea of Asriel. But I think, who, if given the choice to choose a name, who wants to be kind of inconspicuous, would pick the name of Asriel mixed up other than Asriel? The only answer there is Chara. Now, I do have evidence to back this up. The first thing being Ralsei's ability to traverse between dark realms, even though they very much shouldn't be. Through the rules that they state, a Darkner has to be brought by the Lightners to a new world, and if it's a world they're not meant to be in, they're not meant to be there. They turn to stone. But Ralsei doesn't turn to stone. Now, they explain this as being the Prince of the Dark or whatever, but I don't know if that tracks. They're always in the dark world where Chris is, and where the soul is. And that's one of the reasons. Another reason is, well, every now and again, Ralsei sort of lets a facade slip. Every now and again, they will, well, break character. The best example of this is after the Spamton fight. The Spamton Neo fight, the secret boss fight in Deltarune Chapter 2, where Chris and Susie are very clearly distressed about everything they just heard about control and strings and hands. A man who speaks in hands. It doesn't say that. I wish it did, but it does say hands. But while Susie is very clearly, you know, asking Chris, you alright? You got goosebumps. That was terrifying. What did they mean by that? What did they mean about control and things like that? But Ralsei is very quick to think, don't think about it. Don't think about it too much. It's over. That's what matters. Don't think about it. Think about something else. Don't focus on the idea of being controlled or being out of control, because that thought will lead you against my plans. Don't say the last part, obviously, but that's the way it came across to me. And that's one of the main points that made me want to make these videos. Ralsei is very suspicious, and to say that they aren't up to something would be a heavy oversight. One of the most exciting inclusions in Deltarune Chapter 2 is the Snowgrave route. Before this, there was some criticisms of the game for being so linear. Obviously, Toby Fox said it would be a linear game, but there was never any choice. Again, entirely Toby Fox's his desire. He wanted there to not be any choice. It was, of course, a major point. But the Snowgrave route in Deltarune Chapter 2 adds a whole new level to the you have no choices. Because if you don't have choices, why not make someone else make them for you? The Snowgrave route shows you, well, corrupting the innocent Noelle to kill more and more darkness as you traverse the area with them. Now, this is entirely up to you as Frisk, but we have to remember that Frisk isn't the good to Chara's bad. Frisk is still the one who committed the genocide in Undertale. Frisk's manipulation of Noelle shouldn't come as a surprise, it shouldn't come as anything new. We've done similar before. Honestly, it's chilling. This is a darker parallel to the genocide route in Undertale. And whilst it's not as damning since we aren't really killing characters we like much, it is still very much, the only word to describe it is chilling. In case you haven't gotten it yet, your choices don't matter. That was sort of the line that picked the most attention when Deltarune Chapter 1 dropped, and it is very much an integral part of the game as a whole. But as I mentioned before, if you can't make a choice yourself, make someone else do it for you. This sort of brings into my idea that this world is some kind of trap, or somewhere where Chara and Frisk weren't meant to end up, if they had have been able to choose. This world is designed to stop them from killing, to stop them from doing anything wrong, and to just keep everyone as safe as possible, that kind of thing. That's just an idea. But I somewhat believe that you are sent to this world so that the Undertale world can remain safe. Although you can always go back and ruin the world of Undertale, but what you gonna do? This world is designed to not allow you choice so that you can't cause any harm, but the oversight of allowing others choice and allowing you to influence theirs unfortunately breaks this trap, or this part of it.
When the light is running low and the shadows start to grow and the places that you know seem like fantasy.
Okay, I know those other points have been somewhat short, but this is the brunt of the video. The Future of Deltarune Beyond Chapter 3. As I mentioned before, there are times during each ending scene of each chapter where the soul, or Frisk, is ejected from the body, and as I choose to believe that this is Chara now inhabiting the body, that leaves some damning ideas, especially considering the knife they are shown to wield. Now, yep, they go and get some pie, that's definitely something they do, and that's an argument for Chris still having some control while the soul is outside the body. However, one thing you will notice is, between Chapter 1 and 2, on the surface, Chris has gained a level of violence. 1 love in Chapter 1, 2 love in Chapter 2. Chara has killed. It's unsure what or who, because we can pretty much see most of the characters we saw before again, but someone somewhere has been turned to dust. And now the game is afoot. You don't have control, but it seems that when you're not in that body, to an extent at least, Chara does. Now, one of my most major theories after the end of Deltarune Chapter 1 was that this world was a trap set by Gaster, Sans, and Papyrus to stop Chara and kill them and keep killing them, that kind of thing. This came to me especially because of Sans's, "Oh, you can hang out with my brother alone, I won't be there." Now, Chara knows Papyrus is a monster they can kill easily, and specifically being told that Sans won't be there just sounded like too much of a trap for me. Now, this has kind of been washed over by other things now that Chapter 2 has been released, but it's still something I'd like to think about. We still haven't seen Papyrus, and I still really hope there's something special planned for him. The biggest obstacles in the genocide route of Undertale are Undyne the Undying and Sans. Both of these are the only bosses in the game who fight back, and are very definitely the two hardest fights in the game, either route. This is very important because Chara remembers this, and what they are planning for Chapter 3 is gonna fix some of their problems. Now, the final ending of Chapter 2 shows, first with a soul removed, Chris leaps from the window. They do something off-screen and then return, replacing the soul. Later on, when Chris and Susie fall asleep, we see Toriel calling the police. Someone has slashed their tyres, and the police will be on their way. Now, Toriel falls asleep, and once again, the soul is ripped from Chris's body and tossed aside. Frisk steps to the door first, leaving it ajar, and then to the television, sticking it to static. Finally, they leap into the air and rip open a dark fountain, creating a new dark world and revealing themselves as the Knight, the Roaring Knight, the Knight whose power comes from determination. And who do we know who's determined? But this is not the main point. Remember, the two threats to genocide in Undertale were Undyne and Sans. Undyne is the chief of police. They will be on their way over to investigate this crime. We've seen before. Undyne is just waiting for something in this city. They're sure to come over straight away. And what will they find when they get there? They'll find the slashed tyres and an open door. Well, they have no choice but to head in. Is everyone safe inside? And Undyne will step into the dark world. There, who knows what might happen to them. All we care about is she is taken out of the equation, so our killing may resume. Thank you so much for watching. That's the end. That's everything I've got at the moment. Look, I did these two stupid looking diagrams in paint with one of my friends right after I finished the Snowgrave route of Deltarune Chapter 2, and they're both there, and oh, yay! I just sat and drew these. They are not good at all. A lot of them don't fit with what I think now, but they provide some context and they helped me remember what I thought for a few things. Deltarune is going to be phenomenal. There's no stopping it. It may not outdo Undertale, but that's a near impossible job anyway. On its own, it will be a phenomenal game on full release, and I know that I'm probably, like Undertale, going to end up buying it 7 goddamn times. But for now, that's all we have. I'm fairly confident about some of the things that I've said being true and coming true, but we'll have to wait and see. And while we're waiting, if you haven't, please go play Deltarune Chapters 1 and 2. They are free on Steam. Completely free to download and play. I'd recommend that you've played Undertale and all of its roots first, but it's not necessary. And the games are fantastic. Yes, I know I've spoiled things here, and if you've gotten this far then I've already spoiled them, but play the games. I'll leave the link in the description. Come on, they're really good. They're my favourite games ever, and I love them. So, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening to me. If you've enjoyed, again, please like and subscribe. It helps me so much. I love making these videos and I want to make more, and them doing well incentivizes me to do more. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you for an unrelated video next week. I've got a lot planned. Thank you very much, and good night.